And I'm waiting on notifications, Sister Olivia.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a great guest, one who I'm very honored and humbled would take time out of her busy schedule for she watched me and my siblings grow up, and we've always had an admiration for you and your family. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Olivia.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Thank you. It's an honor and pleasure to be here with you.
Praise be to Allah. Now, Sister Olivia, for as long as we've known you, you have been Sister Olivia. But when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Okay, the very first time I heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was in 1975, 76, somewhere in that area. Because who brought me in was my son Kadir's father.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
In the first. So he gave me some of the teachings and then some of his own.
Yes, ma'am.
He brought me to Muhammad University where they were showing a movie, The Life of Prophet Muhammad. And then he took me to other avenues of the Muslim business and everything.
Yes, ma'am.
So, long story short, he introduced me to the teachings because he said he was a Muslim. And I was like, okay, what's this about Muslims? You know, who gave you these teachings? You know, I asked him and everything.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
He told me, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I'm like, okay, interesting. So, long story short, I ended up getting pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was with my son, Kadir.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I named him Kadir Jalal Muhammad after his father.
Yes, ma'am.
And another long story short, in the event, we did not stay together. He did not marry me. And I'm like, well, I thought Muslims, supposed to, be upright and, be married and all that. And
yes, ma'am.
So that didn't happen. So I was like, well, I have to go about my way and taking care of myself. Because I was in college, going to University of Illinois, Chicago Circle campus. And
yes,
I'm like, okay, well, I got to go ahead and take care of me and my son. So I went to school, plus I got a job, so I could take care of us. And I like, okay, Olivia, we got to do this. We got to take care of your child that Allah has blessed you with,
Yes, ma'am.
I do have to say, he told me, stop eating pork, which I stopped doing. Stop, doing this and that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about all this, But I'm thankful to it that I did,
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord, give a pork. You raised up on this, And
yes,
it's like, okay, well, I can do that. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, because those are some of the vices I tried as a teenager. So that was no problem, and everything. But at the time, I wasn't ready to come into the nation because I like to party. I like to enjoy myself, my life. My passion was just dancing and having a good time.
Okay.
So I wasn't ready to give that up. So I was like, okay. So anytime I used to hear the minister speak, let me backtrack. I'm trying to stay on the question.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened is that I went to visit my uncle. My uncle lived in Detroit, Michigan. So I've always been an adventurous person, and I went walking from his house to downtown area, and I think he said it was like maybe 3 to 4 miles. And I was like, okay. So I stopped in a bookstore, and it was ran by Muslims. And they asked me, where are you from? I said, Chicago. Have you ever heard of Minister Farrakhan? And I was like, no. Well, he's going to be in Chicago at the Medina Temple. So I said, well, it won't do any harm to go and hear what he has to say. So when I got back home, I waited till the event to start, and I went. And it was at Medina Temple. And the minister was on there, and he spoke, and I'm like, who is this Black man?
Yes, ma'am.
I can believe every word he said at that moment,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
it pierced my heart. It pierced my heart. And I was like, see, that's a Black man that's not scared of speaking the truth. You know how you're told you looking for the truth, you know. And
Yes,
when
ma'am.
I heard him speak, I mean, it pierced my heart. It just pierced my heart. And I was like, okay, this Black man is telling the truth. So wherever he spoke, I would go. The Positive Institute of Islam, he was there. It's a place on King Drive in Cottage Grove. And so each time he spoke, I would go. And I'm like, okay, Olivia, what you gonna do? How long are you gonna be waiting?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
finally, I said, okay, Olivia, we're gonna get our act together. And that was like 84 when I finally decided that I was ready to let go of a party and all that. I was like, okay, I'm ready now to submit myself to these teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of Minister Farrakhan. And so I got registered.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you all for watching People's Podcast. My sister Naima says, "Assalamu alaikum." Brother Yusuf says he loves Sister Olivia. She was his favorite teacher at MUI. Sister Olivia, I have a quick question.
Yes,
How did
sir.
your parents feel once you, 1984? So this is before the Most Honorable Farrakhan was this like Donahue and all of that. So how did your parents feel about this man named Minister Farrakhan back then?
Well, they weren't really interested. I mean, they saw a change in me, yes, but I had to say my mother of anyone, she was the one that said, okay, I love the bean soup, I love the bean pie. I just not ready to give up everything. So
Yes,
she
ma'am.
gave up a little of the pork, but she, said in her ways, you can't force your parents,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Like, okay, my dad, he was not interested. He was like, I don't know who that man is. I don't care about him.
Yes, ma'am.
I was like, well, hey. So I shared with them the teachings, and so you want the best for your family also, what you have learned, that you
Yes,
feel
ma'am.
that's the best for you and your people. So I had to keep on going, I mean, I shared it with my brothers, my sisters, because I have two brothers and I have two sisters. And so I'm a twin also. So,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
yes, sir. So each one of them, they took what they liked of the teachings. Actually, my oldest brother, Jake, he was processing. He started processing and then changed his mind. So I'm like, well, praise is due to Allah. I share what I could with my family,
Yes, ma'am.
and so they love the minister. They've definitely listened to him. They've also come to the mosque and come to Savior's Day, So I'm thankful to that.
Wonderful. Praise be to Allah. My next question for you is, Sister Olivia, being that the minister, this is before the E-team and some people around him, what was it like to see him in his earlier stages of the rebuilding of the nation? And what was it like for you to first speak to him?
Okay, so I would have to say when we were at the Final Call building,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we had study group, the minister would be there, and you were like, okay, who's going to be in his circle, and it was like, okay, you were like, I know for me, I was like nervous to even say anything because it was like, okay, the minister's here in study group,
Yes,
and
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
what am I gonna say? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna listen to what everybody else got to say because at that time I just was like very shy, and everything. You're not a very outspoken person and everything. So it's like, but it was just a pleasure in seeing him and Mother Khadijah and the family there at the Final Call building.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. My next question for you, ma'am, is have being in Chicago, everybody knows it, the violence and things of that nature. But as an MGT, was there ever a time that you were faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
You know, I had to say, I think it was one time where I was waiting for the train And I saw this young man pickpocketing this man. I'm like, you know what? You shouldn't be doing that. You need to get you a job. I do got a job. And then he pulled out a pellet gun and shot me, and it pierced my sweater. And I'm like, really, black man? I said, I fear no one but Allah, and I'm thankful to Allah that I was not injured and everything. So I had to say that was about maybe my greatest fear was that at that moment, just trying to be right and knowing that someone else was doing wrong, and I'm like trying to say, brother, this is not necessary. You to take somebody's wallet, and he was like, oh man, you need to stop talking to me because I am at my job. And I'm like, okay, it's all right,
Yes, ma'am.
So that's about the greatest fear I had to say I've ever been in.
Yes, ma'am. And you're saying this is like a fake gun that he shot you with? I want to be clear.
It was a pellet gun. So it had pellets in it. It wasn't a real gun, but I didn't know that. I was like, look, okay, go ahead and shoot then, and that's why I told him, shoot.
Yes, ma'am.
And he did, and it was pellets. So I'm thankful to that,
Praise be to Allah. And so, Olivia, how did you get so I saw there are videos on YouTube of you working on the camera for the Final Call building, and how did you find the love for working at the Final Call building and working with the Final Call?
Well, what happened is I used to work out for another job outside the Final Call. I had a job and they let me go. And so at the time, I believe Sister Charlene was the captain. And so she was like, well, I got a Muslim sister that needs a job, And so she told Brother Fontaine, about me and everything. And that's how I started at the Final Call working. And then, of course, because my love for theater, I just love the arts, period. Anything it could be, the acting, dancing, singing, that was me, and just having the opportunity to work behind the camera was a pleasure. Sometimes I would be nervous and everything, and I'm like, okay, Olivia, it's gonna be okay,
Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna be okay. Just do what you got to do,
Okay, excellent. And what has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the Nation of Islam?
I guess the greatest joy is just seeing my children, Kadir and Naima, both being Muslims themselves, and being students of Muhammad University, because I was able to have both of my children go to Muhammad University because some of the believers sponsored them to go. Of course, with me working too, but I did have sponsors so that both of my children could be exposed to the teachings. Kadir went from, I think like the second grade to being a graduate, high school graduate, whereas Naima went to preschool to 8th grade, because by the time she graduated from 8th grade, the high school was shut down, and I was like, oh no, I got to send my child out there in the world.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It was like, oh, I did not like that experience for her. I really didn't, but praise is due to, I'll say, well, not even just tell them you're a Muslim,
Yes, ma'am.
Mom, they want to hear that.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah.
I was like, oh God, they gonna hurt my child. Like, I was really scared for her because I had to put her in a public school, and she had always been at Muhammad University.
Yes, ma'am.
So oh my God, my child, she'll come up like, Mom, they think they'll fight with me. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh no, we gotta go up to the school.
Yes, ma'am. And your daughter's sister Naima said she had to fight all her life. Praise be to Allah. And the crazy thing about it is seeing her grow up with us, but seeing her grown, she doesn't even seem, I mean, when she has a Vanguard uniform on, she seems serious, but she's like the nicest person. So I don't know how people could try to fight Naima. I don't understand. But
I don't understand it either, because I'm like, Naima, just tell me you're Muslim. You're Muslim.
My next question for you is, the Million Man March was very profound and an amazing event. What was it like for you being a sister, seeing that, and how did it impact you as an MGT, as a woman?
Oh, I had the pleasure in being there.
Okay.
Sister Captain Charlene at the time sponsored me to go there. And I mean, when I saw all these beautiful Black men, and of course, there was other people there too of other nationality. But when I saw the Black man there, I mean, it just pierced my heart to know that I was there to witness for myself and not for anyone to have to tell me about it, but I could see with my own eyes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that the minister had on all these Black men coming to Washington, D.C. for this historical event. It was just, I mean, it just blew me away because I knew that what was being presented before us, it was history. And I was
Yes, ma'am.
part of it, you know. And I'm just thankful to Allah that I was there to see it with my own eyes. And then to get back to see on the news where they reported maybe less than 1 million. No, it wasn't. Yeah, actual fact, because I was there,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
and I know that we had a head count of how many people were there.
Praise be to Allah.
So it was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful sight. And knowing that I was part of it, it was a blessing.
Okay, excellent. What has been your favorite moment from working at the Final Call building or for the Final Call?
Just being there to help the minister spread these teachings to the people across the nation.
Yes, ma'am.
Being there for the Savior's Day event and where the believers come to the buildings and make purchase, and everything, have an open house. And so that to serve them. I've always, since I've been in the nation, been a server. I've had the honor of serving at the National House, the minister's home.
Yes, ma'am.
I've also had the opportunity to go to the farm and serve. So
yes.
I just love serving the believers as a believer.
Yes, ma'am.
It's awesome. Well, I'm just saying, I love to serve. So I love serving the brothers and sisters who come to the Final Call each and every year, in and out, whenever they come from all over the country, all over the world.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. My next question is, what advice would you give to future mothers?
Future mothers. I would say to have no fear and let Allah guide you each and every step of the way, and always put that love of Allah in your children's heart.
Yes, ma'am.
That they can do anything and everything, but just make sure that you have Allah focus and the love for yourself and your people.
Yes, ma'am.
And that Allah will bless you to have a peaceful and beautiful home with your children, and knowing that they have the truth and there is no fear but Allah. Put that in them every day. They don't fear anyone. Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. Just have a love for self and for your people and for your family, and that Allah will bless you with success in anything and everything you do.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Sis Olivia, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Oh, I love acting. I love singing. I
didn't know you like singing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking about myself now. I'm a background singer, something like that. As I even say, Mom, you don't even know the words. Yes, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I love cooking. I love baking. I love sewing. I mean, I just love the arts, period, and everything.
Yes,
I just love it, and that's what I do for fun. I mean, I still love dancing, and everything, and so anytime the minister sees me, whenever we have an event, there go my dancing sister. Or you see me at the Final Call, there go my hard-working soldier. Muhammad. And so it's just like a pleasure for me when he sees me being myself. You
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
I mean, I'm just being myself. You know, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
having a good time, and he loves seeing that from the believers. You know,
Praise be to Allah.
they go my dancing sister, him and my Khadija. They like, oh, there go Olivia on the dance.
Yes, ma'am. Beautiful.
So he just loves it, you know, when he sees me out there dancing, enjoying myself, you know. So
Praise
praise
be to Allah.
to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. My sister Miriam says, "Assalamu alaikum." Sister
Oh,
Naima, your daughter says she appreciates you for having a servant's heart. You never say no and always do it with no complaints. Sister Sunny Sabri says, "Go ahead, Sister Olivia." Um,
praise
excellent. Now,
to Allah. I love your family. I love your family. I
praise
mean,
be to Allah.
I,
We love
I
you as
met
well.
your mother first before I met Brother Sharif
Mm,
because uh, with Savior's Day and everything, you know, whenever she'd come to Chicago, she and Sister Aisha would be together, you
yes,
know.
ma'am.
And so I've had the honor of working with your mother, you know, arm in arm and soldier for Muhammad, you
Praise
know.
be to Allah.
Love your mother. I just love your whole family.
Praise be to Allah. We love you as well. And then my mom's told me, make sure I give you the greetings because she loves you. And I didn't understand. I just thought she liked you or loved you because of the work. But now that I know that you're in the arts and dancing, that's why my mom's is big into theater and stuff like that. So that makes
Yes,
sense.
we did a play together too. When Sister Margaret's played together.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
I forgot the name of the play. But we were in that play together because Brother Ernest was in it there also, you know.
Okay.
Black Ice.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Brother Mark D.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Winifred, Sister Margaret. I mean, so many believers, you know, we were there. Mother Tynetta. Matter of fact, it was the play with Mother Tynetta was there too. So, like I said, it's been an honor and being in the arts, you know, because I had the pleasure in being with Mother Tynetta Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with her, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
and everything. So yes, that's my heart and
Praise be
soul.
to Allah. And it was Brother Sunny Sabri. Okay, yes, sir, brother. Brother Sunny Sabri says, make sure you send you his love. And
Oh,
my sister Naima says, we love y'all. Mom loves some Sister Olivia. And my sister Mimi says, was it Othello, Sister Winifred's play? I don't know.
it's it might was, but yes, because I'm
Thank you, Mimi, for making me think that. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. We're gonna ask Brother Ernest and Mark Deezer. My next question for you is, Sister Olivia, now that I know you love music, like I love music, albums behind me. If you could choose one album that could speak for you and represent, your love for music, which album would it be for you?
hmm. Well, I see my boy Michael right there. I think off wall, is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am. But no, not one from behind me. One that it can be anyone that you make it like your favorite album.
Well, I like all. I mean, I'm across the. I just oh Lord, let me think. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Look,
Okay.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, I mean, I just love music. Period.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because of the fact that also when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to be in the orchestra, and I played the violin. I played there for 2 years. So I was exposed to all different areas of music from classical to pop to jazz, just all of it, you know, being able to play in the orchestra, you know. And so I was thinking about it, I was like, Dad, the minister played the violin. I'm like, I was nowhere close to what he did. But it was an honor and a pleasure in knowing that I had been exposed to the music like this, you know. And I couldn't stay because my parents couldn't afford us to keep on going, you know, and everything like that. So that's why I love music, any type of music. I just love it, you know.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Will you ever write a book on your life's journey, Sister Olivia?
Now, that's a good question, brother. And the thing about this, I love reading as Naima said, because I got plenty of books. And she's like, Mom, buying books all the time. You're right. You got to expand your knowledge right here. But a lot of giving us, you know, and so reading. So to say that would I ever write a book, that will be an interesting thing to do, I guess. I would really have to think about that because I guess I don't know what I would really write about. I mean, I
Mm.
guess it being in the mosque, being in the nation, under the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, I guess I could write a book. I just not really thought about it. What would
Yeah.
I say?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, wonderful. Brother Daniel from Chicago says, Assalamu alaikum. Brother Josh, Sister Olivia, and Sister Latasha says, Assalamu alaikum,
Oh,
everyone. Wa alaikum salam, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam, sir.
to lie.
Sister Olivia, what would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
Ooh, just being a servant of Allah. I think to me that's just the true thing I love to do is serve Allah, serve His messenger, serve His teaching, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, just to be a servant of theirs, and knowing that Allah and hopefully Allah will be pleased with me as a believer in accepting these teachings. And just knowing that I pray to Allah that yes, that I would be an example for my brothers and my sisters in striving to be upright each and every day, that Allah blesses you to wake up and give praise to Him, praise to His name, and have no fear, because
Yes, ma'am.
I fear no one but Allah. That's truly in my heart.
Yes, ma'am.
Truly in my heart.
All praises to Allah. Well, thank you, Sister Olivia. Thank you all for watching People's Podcast. But Olivia, this means so much that you would take time out of your busy schedule and to let us know, you know what I mean, about your life, because I've known you, you know me, my entire life, and all of us growing up, but I never knew you dancing. You never know who's around, and your heart. I just know that you're nice. Thank you for being so kind to me, the believers, and always looking out for us. Please give your son the greetings. And Sister Naima, thank you for being the plug. We love you all, and may Allah continue to bless you all.
May He bless you also, you and your family, and please give your family the greetings for me, because I love them. I love them.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And Sister Naima, your daughter says your legacy will always be her carrot cake and her vegetable rice. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, I'm famous for that. Like I said, I love cooking.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a pleasure, and being able to cook as a Muslim woman, and have a wholesome meal and famous beings. Because Naima said, "Mom, I think I put up a challenge." I said, "I'm sorry, son, but I don't think you're going to win."
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Sister Lovett, thank you for promoting the People's Podcast as usual. Sister Viola X Gordon, and Brother James Williams. Thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. Stay tuned for the upcoming guests that we have this week, and may Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.